Hey, how's everybody doing today out there in Winners and Winers land or Max Wagers Network land? I'm so used to saying all these other shows and everything. We're on Max Wagers Network today. Only Max Wagers Network on the Facebook channel and the YouTube channel. That's the only place you could see us here. You can see us on Facebook and YouTube, though. That's cool. Last night I was on Capital Sports Network broadcasting my soccer game, which was interesting. 2-0 down. They scored 2 goals in the final 8 minutes and then lost 10-9 in penalties. Trenton FC. Anyway. So some interesting games today. I know we talked about a lot of these things. Just first off, let me just BetMGM is a great deal for first-time users of the Apple website. Get a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. All the information in the show box below. Be sure to follow the Max Wagers Network all day. There's all kinds of shows. We have new shows at 3:00 about football. It'll be interesting. Oh, I saw plus money there, and then he disappeared. I'll be right back. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. There he is. What's up, man?
Not much. How's it going today?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Just looking at some of these games. I mean, just talked a little bit about these. These games are tough because a lot of them were over. Coops won pretty easily. Kisvarda Master Good FC, big win for them to advance. I have no idea who half these teams. Apwell, Nicosia, we talked about some of these teams.
Oh, well, I made the joke of Slavia Prague winning 12-0, and they just about did it with a 7-0 win today. They won 11-0 on aggregate.
It's embarrassing. I mean, there's some of these teams that have no business being it. I mean, a lot of the games I talked about yesterday, pretty interesting games. Slavia Prague, obviously, huge favorite. Vienna, Kukariki, kind of mentioned them a little bit. They won 4-0 pretty easily. Antwerp won 2-0. So they covered 1.5. Young Boys won 3-0.
Your Konyaspor got it done there, 2-0.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, we'll see what these ties are like next week as some of these teams filter out. Wednesday was interesting. Bodo, 8-0.
Don't even get me started, man. What happened to Olympiacos? They just got ran out of town on their own pitch.
Yeah, I feel I don't know what happened here late. It looks like they gave up 2 goals in 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and they got they gave up. But that's just a weird result for me there. I think they were still in it, and then all of a sudden, you get like you said. It's just.
And Ferencváros, I don't understand them. For 90 minutes, they couldn't do anything at home. Literally took 75 minutes to score a goal just to cough up 2 in the last 10 minutes. And then they come out right out of the gate, take an early lead, dominated the entire match, and win 4-1 in Slovakia. There was so many weird scores yesterday. Malmo gets ran out of town on their own pitch by Zalgiris.
I hated that game. I thought Malmo was. Just from watching Malmo and these results when we're trying to find stuff to bet on earlier in the summer, I didn't like that game at all. We talked about it. I just thought Malmo was was kind of. I mean, they had lost the first leg, So I said, I don't know. I don't know how you could back them. It's just, the Fenerbahce game was weird. Zurich was there. They scored in the 90 plus 5 to send it to extra time, and then they give up a goal in the first period of extra time. So I just, when you see these, just gonna take a look here.
I told you, man, Zurich is a fade this year. They look like crap.
I think that's gonna be Young Boys burn again.
And they're minus 125 right now. It was like plus 120 last week for them to win the title. Right now it's minus 125. I would still take it because nobody's going to challenge Young Boys.
Young Boys in that league?
Yeah. No one's going to challenge them. I don't even think, like, if you look at Basel, maybe they could do it. But at the same time, they finished with more points than Young Boys last year. And Young Boys had more wins because Basel was just drawing out the ass.
Yeah, and they say like here they already have Young Boys up at minus 150, so it's it's a little bit crazy there. Just I think we're gonna start to see some of this. I'll be interested to see though. I mean, because even last year, you had Sheriff beating Real Madrid, who ended up going on to win the title. There's sometimes you get these little wacky results in the Champions League, but I think it's going to start to normalize at some point. But when you start talking about these games for the weekend here, I don't know. Did you want to talk about the Brazilian games tonight, or you want to just go into Friday?
So I didn't look at the cup matches because I really don't care. Honestly, I didn't even like the Brazilian card this weekend too much, just because there's a lot of teams playing each other that are playing in the Copa Libertadores or Sudamericana coming up this week. So there's a lot of look ahead games.
It's almost time to say, all right, the big boys are back. We're going to look at the big boys here. So I get, it was funny when the Belarus was the only league playing, Belarus and Nicaragua. Everybody became an expert on the Belarus sluts and all these teams. And then as soon as there was a half decent league back, everybody forgot about that league. Like, I'm not betting on that league, man. Those games are terrible. I can't win any money. But when that was the only thing to bet, it was pretty good. This weekend here, there's a lot, obviously the cup games on Saturday, but Friday, the English Championship starts, and Huddersfield takes on Burnley. So Huddersfield lost in the playoff final last year to Nottingham Forest, and Burnley obviously goes down. And somebody had mentioned today that Burnley squad might pick up the most points in the history of the league this year. And you right away you get them at plus 145 here. I don't know if you looked at this at all, or a lot of times those teams that are going back down, they either bounce back or they don't. They're middle of the pack or they struggle. Obviously Norwich City's the king of that. Fulham's the king of that. But what do you have any thoughts on that game Friday?
Norwich City is just one of those teams that's like they're too good for the championship, but they're not good enough for the Premier League.
They're like a 4A baseball team as it is. They're not, or like a 4A baseball player. There's a lot of guys that are rip up AAA, but then they get to the majors and they just can't do it, or they struggle. It's like they're like a middle. It's them and Fulham here. At some point, one of them is going to break the cycle maybe and stay up. But Burnley's been in the league for so long, and they just couldn't get it done last year. But the squad stayed pretty much intact. They're going to sell, maybe Dwight McNeil and some, but maybe Maxwell Quartet. But they're still it's a pretty good squad. And Huddersfield Town, obviously, I think they overachieved last year a little bit. They don't score a lot of goals. Um, for me, just you look at it. I mean, I might take a chance on Burnley there at plus 145, but it offers you some pretty good value. But it's not like it's not a super hot play for me. But I might take a chance on them.
Yeah, I would agree with you just because of the fact that, as you said, Burnley's a team, they've been in the Premier League for a long time. Like, they're not one of those teams that gets relegated often. Like, yeah, they had a bad season last year, but the squad's the same. And that might have been the wake up call they need to, okay, let's get our act together here and get back in the Premier League for next year. Obviously they couldn't compete with the big boys, but this is not the big boys, and it is a league that they probably should dominate this year for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting too. You get Burnley at plus 145 over 1.5 goals. When you see Fulham, the Fulham. I'm just going to go back and take a look at some of their results from last year. They didn't start great, but then 5-1 against Huddersfield. On the road 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-1. They started to kind of post a lot of goals in these games. 4-1, 4-0, 3-0. 7-0.
That was the game there. That 7-0. They had like a stretch where they weren't playing well, and then right after that 7-0, they were scoring goals like no tomorrow. It was crazy.
Yep. I mean, they 7-0 against Reading, 6-2 against Birmingham, 6-2 against Bristol City. So that's the thing. I mean, these squads that go down, as long as they don't sell everybody, they're usually way too good for the league. And they still, they still have talent. And, just I want to look at this squad here. I'm looking at the Premier League squad. Just Burnley squad. And they have some players that are still in the squad, but they're probably going to get sold here. All right, accept. These guys are pretty. This is a pretty decent Matt Lawton, Jack Quirk, Dwight McNeil still there. I mean, Dwight McNeil will tear up that league if he's there. Maxwell Cornet will tear up that league if he's still there. Ashley Barnes and Jay Rodriguez will score 25 goals in that league if they're still there. So I actually like this game. I might take a chance on Burnley to score over 1.5 goals as well. I don't know if you looked at any of the Saturday games in the championship. I started to look at it. I mean, there's so many big games on Saturday that I kind of, I probably like Norwich City a little bit. Same reason. But these games are really kind of tough to figure out here. I don't know if any of them stick out for you.
Yeah, I did take a look at the games, but wasn't really feeling anything. It's probably I'll just watch this first week, see how things happen. Like I said, I don't love betting in the first week or so coming back from an off season in any sport. So it's usually a lighter card for me. And especially with all the other leagues coming back now, like we got Austria back and Belgium in their second league. And then it's like the Swiss league has played a few rounds now. I'd rather, watch those this week, cap those, and then when the English Championship, maybe next week, see what happened in these games and go back and take a look at that.
Do you have any plays on the just looking through down some of these games Friday? I know Dortmund's playing 1860 Munich in the Pokal as heavy minus 590 favorites. Nuremberg's playing some team I don't even know. Nuremberg's not great. They're minus 1250. Any kind of games Friday kind of jump off the card for you?
Not really. I'm not a big Cup fan. The only Friday game I guess I was looking at was the LAFC one, but even that,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to find a lot of value on that one. They're
Yeah,
playing
that's a
in
tough game to
Seattle.
call, I think. Let's see, LAFC's minus 190 in that game, and that's Seattle's been playing pretty well. So, uh,
Yeah, well, best team in North America supposedly. So
Seattle.
yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'd expect there to be goals in that one. I'm almost thinking about taking the over 2.5 and both teams to score, but I didn't really look at what the line was on that.
Over 2.5, both teams to score pays plus 108.
Yeah, so that's not too bad. I think
Both teams to
Seattle.
score is minus 134. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I don't. You might even just take that as a instead of taking the minus 165 and thing. I mean, you really could probably just single that as well and see if you can win with that.
Yeah, I didn't. I actually didn't even see that it was that low because I mean, both these teams are good teams, and obviously they're going to come play. Like Seattle should get up for this game. I know they're on the road, but you're playing the best team in the MLS. I would think anybody would get up to try and beat the best team in the MLS. And then obviously LAFC at home. They've been in great form lately. They're going to score goals there. But are they going to let Gareth Bale start a game? Because like I'm sure he didn't come to the MLS to sit on the bench. He could have done that for Real Madrid. So I'm very curious if they're going to start him this Friday. I guess that's tomorrow. But yeah, I'm very curious if they're going to start him tomorrow. If they're going to use him as a late 60-minute sub again.
I think you almost have to start getting this guy in the lineup to see what he could do because once again, I think he got a little bit. I don't know. I know he wants to play. Like, you don't want him to get disillusioned 5 minutes into his career over here. Like, just get him in the lineup and see what he can do. But, well, this might be a perfect spot.
Yeah, and he scored a goal in the last game too. He scored the second goal for them in that one after he got subbed in. So give him a chance. He came to your team to start. He could have sat bench for Real Madrid, who just won the Champions League. Why would he want to come sit on the bench for LAFC? It doesn't make sense to me. Look at Toronto. They threw Insigne and Bernardeschi out on the field first chance they got, 4-0 win at home. First clean sheet of the season, paid off for them. So I say throw him out on the field. I want to see Bale play a full 90 minutes because it's also, as you said, you got to see if he's got anything left in the tank, right? Let's see how he looks in the 90 minutes.
Saturday they start the championship and stuff, but there's all the cups. The main one Saturday is the FA Community Shield, which is at noon. Liverpool against Manchester City. Liverpool, the FA Cup and Carabao Cup champions. They won 2 trophies without scoring a goal. And Manchester City won the league. So the league and the FA Cup winners are going to play. Last year in April in the FA Cup semifinal was 3-2 Liverpool. It was 2-2 in the game, 2-2 in both league games. And then Manchester City had won 4-1 before that. So a lot of goals in these games. It's a friendly, Klopp takes these games kind of weird. I think they weren't very good the other day. My guy Benjamin Sesko, hopefully he's on a plane right now to Manchester United. Scored against for Leipzig to win that game. Now, so Leipzig plays at 2:30 against Bayern Munich, so remember that for later. But do you have a thought about this game? I actually probably leaning towards Manchester City in this game just because A, they're deeper, and B, I haven't liked the way Liverpool has played this summer.
Well, I would agree with you on that, but my reasoning for that is, as you said, Klopp takes these games a little weird. Pep wants to win every game. He's got some kind of complex about him where that's why he stacks his team so deep, because he needs 2 different squads to throw out in every game every 3 days so you can have a chance to win. I don't know why, but he loves to win every game. even on short rest. And I think you're totally right. I would lean to Man City in this one because
it's interesting too. You can get Manchester City to lift the trophy at -125, so that gives you, regulation, extra time. I don't even know if there's extra time in this game. I think it might just go right to penalties. So, let me see if there is.
And you got to be thinking too. He's got to be like licking his chops to try out his new shiny piece Haaland there against like a really good team in a somewhat competitive match.
No penalties, so you get the regulation and the penalties. So doesn't offer you that much more value, to be honest. A little bit, but I would just take Manchester City, and I do think. Let me see what the total goals are. Manchester City over 1.5 goals at +120 is pretty interesting. Here, the over/under in this game is over 2.5 at -120. It is a friendly kind of, but
somewhat.
When these teams play, there's a lot of goals. So, it's that's an interesting play there. Let's see. Foxy says new Flamengo and Pernins would be a tight game. Foxy, I didn't even see the score.
It's a 0-0 draw.
Okay.
First leg of the cup. And that was actually something. I'm glad Foxy brings that up because I'm looking to Atletico PR to win that second leg. It'll be right after this round of Copa Libertadores is done.
So Friday, Saturday, something like that?
It's like it's after the second leg of the Copa Libertadores. So
okay.
the first leg is I guess this
next week.
Next week, right? So I guess the week after, and then it would be maybe even the week after that. I was looking at the schedule, but that was one that caught my eye because I figured by then Flamengo should be through to the next round. Atletico PR, I don't think so. They're playing. I'm drawing a blank on who they're playing, but I think it's a team that's probably going to get past them. And I could see that one being one where maybe Atletico PR is turning their focus towards the cup after getting kicked out, and then Flamengo just doesn't give a crap because they play in so many competitions already.
It's crazy, man. These guys, these teams just play so much. Like I just. So I'm going over to the Manchester United game next Sunday. My new job is bringing me over for training because they got to teach me how to do stuff properly and not piss off people and clients and stuff. So I'm going to go over to the Manchester United. He said he has parents to eliminate Estudiantes. I'm going to go see that game, but it's interesting because. That week I'm there, which is going to be, 9th, 10th, 11th, the 9th is Champions League games, basically all day. The 10th is Real Madrid and Eintracht Frankfurt in the Super Cup, 8:00 at night. That'll be great. I think we're at a party that night or something like that. Maybe we'll go out to watch that. I think that's going to be an interesting game. But you see the Copa Libertadores games then. And then Thursday, there's all kinds of Conference League qualification. There's another 50,000 games. It's so ridiculous. Every time they eliminate like 20 teams, there's like 50 more teams in the next round. It's so crazy. There's I don't understand. Where are the Europa League teams? Like, isn't there Europa League playoffs anymore? I don't get it. So, I guess there isn't. And then I come back and then, there's some games on the Friday. There's Watford plays Burnley, which is, a Premier League game from last year. So there's all kinds of games coming up. But it's just, this is pretty good time now once these games start. Now, I mentioned a little bit that the German Super Cup, Leipzig and Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich here, this is an interesting game to me because Leipzig's looked good in the preseason. And when these two teams, there's usually a lot of goals. Once again, it's a Super Cup, though, so you don't know how seriously these teams take it. Bayern doesn't always take this game as seriously as some of the other teams do. Leipzig here at plus 250 is interesting. I think Leipzig or draw is minus 112, which is interesting. But, it's just, Bayern Munich could win this game 6-0. So I don't know, what your feeling is if you have any kind of edge or lean on this game.
Yeah, it's the tough one because Bayern Munich's been signing a lot of players, but I did not like the way they played last season. I thought they weren't in the greatest form for a lot of it. I think they have a lot of defensive problems that they didn't really solve that much in this transfer window. They basically just signed a lot of. They got some midfielders, but I guess
they got De Ligt. So I don't know who's going to play in this game. They got Davies, De Ligt, Mesraoui, Gravenberch from Ajax. I mean, they do have, Sané Muller-Mane. They got Sadio Mane, and Leroy Sané, and then Gnabry up top. But I don't know. That guy's not Lewandowski? Like, Lewandowski is the guy, man. And Kuku is the guy on the other side for Leipzig. This guy in Kuku scores every game, every big game. This Leipzig team is pretty good. Konrad Laimer, and Kuku, Danny Olmo. This is to me, I feel like there's going to be some goals in this. The over 3.5 is a little crazy to me, for a kind of a friendly. Over 3 is minus 148. Man, that's.
Well, it's kind of a friendly, but it's also two German teams. And
goals
in Germany.
Our guy. I don't know if Bill's watching. Hi, Nikki. How you doing? Thank you. Don't die. Thank you very much. And Kunku is plus 180 to score. He scores goals all the time. The guy's just a big time player. On the other side, I don't know. Mane's going to be. He's not going to be the forward. He's going to be the wing. He's probably going to score goals in that league like crazy. I don't know if Sané's going to score. Gnabry probably scores, but it's interesting because I could definitely see Leipzig getting something from this. So Leipzig or draw minus 112 is the same price as Bayern Munich. But, once again, Bayern Munich, I think I might take a different way and maybe take like Nkunku to score or something like that for small money. Just maybe watch the game as a fan. I'm excited to watch the games Saturday. I haven't had a chance to really watch too many games yet during the week, like just actually sit back and watch games. And now, Saturday, I don't even know what time. Am I going to be able to get to watch any games on Saturday? I think I'll be in Manchester by like 2. I'll be in Manchester by 2:45. So, they don't show any games at 3:00 there. So, I'll be able to go out if I get any sleep on the plane. I'll be able to get out and watch that 5:30, as they say over there, the 12:30 match here. So, I think that's Chelsea and Everton. Maybe I'll go to that. Who knows? But this game, I think I just want to watch it and kind of enjoy it, and maybe not have to sweat out any kind of result on it. I think that's kind of a strategy. Sometimes we talk about strategy on the show. I know you're a big person with this. Like, maybe the first leg of games, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to back. I'm going to wait to see what happens and then bet the second leg and attack the second leg, or I'm going to. Maybe bet the second or third week of a league because, whatever, unless I see kind of a thing. I mean, I think people kind of get so anxious to bet these games and they're like, there's games back, but you kind of need to see. It's almost in the NFL too. There's always those crazy first week games. People are like, wow, I can't believe that. But then by week 7, you're like, oh, the Bengals are good. So, everyone was like, oh man, the Bengals are 5-2. I can't, wow, they're, and then they're in the Super Bowl. So, I think that's something that people don't need necessarily do all the time. They want to jump in, feet first, and instead of maybe saying, I'm going to sit back, see how things develop, and then attack it. That's kind of, I know you talk about that a lot, but that's a pretty good strategy across, multiple sports, right?
Oh yeah, because like the worst thing to do is to force a play just to give something out for the first week, and then you end
Yep.
up going something like 0-3, 0-4, because you really don't know. Teams haven't played in so long, and especially with soccer and specifically, like in other sports, the off season is normally at the same length. You get a few days off, and then there's big moves, but these guys still have to mesh, so you don't necessarily know what you're getting. Here, you're getting like a team that just played a league match going up against a team that hasn't played in 2 months sometimes, or, sometimes you're getting two teams that have played 3 matches in the last like 7 days already. So it's really tough to go right off the bat for sure in these leagues, especially with these transfers. Because again, chemistry is a big thing in soccer, and it's tough to say just because Bayern Munich's going out grabbing all these guys, help their attack, help their defense, it doesn't mean they're going to click together on the field. So it's interesting. Got to see what happens for sure. I'm a big firm believer of that.
There's a big game in Netherlands, a Super Cup, Ajax against PSV, two teams that don't like each other at all. PSV won this game 4-0 last year. It was really kind of a stunning result. And then, Ajax came back, a couple months later and beat them 5-0. And then they traded 2-1 wins. Ajax won the league, but, obviously sold a bunch of players. Gravenberch, Lisandro Martinez, Mizraoui, who knows who else they're going to be selling. Holler, who's out now anyway, because he's got a tumor, but so he wasn't going to be in the lineup anyway. So they're new look, but they're minus 121 against PSV. Which to me, once again, like, man, PSV offers some pretty good value here. PSV or draw is plus 100. Ajax going to be betting in a lot of new players. I don't know. They got a new coach, Eric Ten Hag, obviously with Manchester United. Ajax is minus 155, just go over 1.5 goals. PSV is plus 170 to go over 1.5 goals. That to me says probably take Ajax. I don't know if you have, same thing, cup game, especially with these things, would you maybe look at some of those numbers and say maybe I'll take a chance on an over or something, or is this just same thing kind of? I know Ajax has been playing well in the summer, but you want to kind of wait and see.
Yeah, if I don't like cup matches, but if I had to lean here, I would actually lean to PSV, just because Ajax has been shedding players, but they're also a team that I don't think takes this seriously.
Yeah.
Versus PSV, who, they haven't had a lot of success because Ajax has been dominating the league over the last years. This makes them feel good going into the season. And I really do think PSV has a chance to challenge Ajax for the title this year. I don't think it's going to be cut and dry for Ajax like it has been in the last few seasons. I think PSV is going to put up a fight, and they might be back. They might finally be back after a few years.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting to me, this is once again, in these cup matches when you don't know, and Foxy just made the point, always check the lineups, Super Cups, because they mean very little.
Absolutely.
If you're getting to me 2 of the 3 results at plus money for teams that are pretty close, I might take a chance on double chance PSV Eindhoven and draw, because once again, if it goes to extra time, if PSV wins, you win. If it goes to extra time, you win. So, or if it goes to penalties, whatever. Instead of maybe just taking, you could take a chance and say, PSV wins the game like they did last year. But, here you get 2 of the 3 results and you're getting plus money. So, that might be a way to go about it. We've talked about this at length on these games where these teams, Austin FC is one when they're plus 300 on the road. I take them at plus 300, but I also kind of back them, Austin or draw. So when you're looking at these games, if you can get that, I think sometimes that's just a better way to maybe go about betting the game than because you get 2 of the 3 and the teams are pretty even. I'm not doing it if it's, if I think a chance, if there's a Premier League game, let me just take a look at some of these Premier League games. Here's a decent one, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest or draw plus 120. I know Newcastle has got all this money. Haven't signed like Nottingham Forest signed players like crazy. That's an interesting thing there. Like maybe I think Nottingham Forest will win. I'll just take plus 410 if I'm really adamant about it. But I think sometimes this plus 120 can be the way to go here. And when we talk about the MLS, let me pull that up here for Saturday.
You're not going to get Austin at plus 300.
Yeah, here we go.
They're plus 160, but
this is okay. So they're plus 160 in this game. But when Sporting Kansas City played LAFC was like plus 110, right?
Yeah, plus 130. I saw even plus 130 on the road in that game.
I just don't get it.
It might have opened at plus 140 because I remember seeing plus 137, and then I think it got down to what you said by the kickoff day. But yeah, like I don't. Hey, at least the MLS took your advice. They didn't put all the games on Sunday in the 7 to 10 window.
I am adamant about this. I know this is like God complex stuff, and us, we're both more important than everything. There's no. If we were talking about this and yelling it from everywhere and telling it on, ESPN and Max Wages and telling everybody everywhere to bet this Austin team constantly, I don't think these odds change. I just don't, because they never changed them. They didn't change them the whole time they were winning. All of a sudden, everybody, like, we're shouting it every time you can do for a month. Now, all of a sudden, because Sporting Kansas City stinks. They're not any good. Like, why this game? Why is this line like plus? A month ago, Austin FC in this game on the road would have been plus 220. Now they're plus 160. By the time the game kicks off, it's going to be plus 130. So,
yeah. And I think part of the reason is because of their performance in their last match, but they still dominated the possession. They got outshot completely, but they still scored 3 goals to come back and make it a close game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell everybody and their brothers to say, just take Austin FC. They're a better team. They're a better team than Sporting Kansas City. Just take them, But you're not getting Austin FC and draw at plus 100 anymore. You're getting them in minus 180. So that kind of that thing is gone. Look, Minnesota United, Portland Timbers at 3:00. Wow, 5:00. Wow. 7. They should have been doing this all. Look, if you want to tell me when it goes to late August and September, that when you're going up against college football, you want to be in certain windows or whatever, I had no problem. But then there's nothing on, and you're going up against baseball. Like, nobody watches baseball anyway, or you're watching a specific game. They should be playing these games all the time. So finally they listen. And then there's only one game on Sunday. So,
but it's not in the 7 to 10 slot.
They kind of listened. There's one game Friday, so that and it's 11:00 at night. That's fine with me. I mean, it's a big time game on the West Coast, 8:00 out there. If you want to stay up on the East and watch the game, if you're out, at the ball or whatever. I have no problem with that. I like they have the Friday game, and I like they have the Sunday game. It would be nice if they took a couple of these games maybe and spread them out Sunday, but I have no problem with what they're doing. At least they're playing in multiple windows.
Just like 2 or 3, man. Like, honestly, we got 12 games here. Just take 2 or 3 of them and move them to Sunday.
Exactly. Or how about or Monday? I know next week. I think I didn't. You know what? I have to look and see. I did not see the results of the Cup games yesterday, by the way. I want to pull that up because that is pretty interesting. Those were yesterday, right?
The which cup matches?
The
The U.S. Open or the
yeah,
Open
the
over
Open
stuff?
Cup. Was that today?
I'm not sure. Again, like that's not really following the U.S. Open Cup too much, but
We
I
we
found there was some weird results there.
oh, Sacramento, that Sacramento team and Orlando City won 5-1. So my Abdi asked me what's going to happen. I was like, I don't know, man. I take Orlando, I take Red Bulls, and there's no way. Sporting Kansas City just lost to some USL team, man. That's terrible. So now all this the RNYFC, the only team to ever win the Open Cup, not from the MLS since the MLS started. That record could be in a lot of danger here because the Sacramento Republic are in the final. So wow,
With Orlando, who's not a very good team.
yeah, that is absolutely crazy there. So yeah, these you know the I like the early game. Minnesota United's been playing really well lately. You know, and has Portland Timbers, you know, at home here on a roll, and you get them at -122. The 5 o'clock game I think is awful, but any kind of play on that early game?
Yeah, I definitely like Minnesota. Now I'm a little worried just because Portland's been in pretty good form lately, but it's hard to fade this Minnesota team with the way they've been playing. If you look, they've won something like 6 of their last 7, and the one they didn't win was like a draw. And they had that 4-0 win against Everton that you mentioned that probably is boosting their confidence as well after they just beat a Premier League team. But yeah, they're playing too well and they're scoring a lot of goals in their games too. It's like they're winning like 3-2, 3-2, 4-0. So a lot of big scores. I would take them, and I would even take the over because I don't think Portland's going to lay down and die in this game. They've been in very good form and scoring a lot of goals in their games lately. So I definitely expect some goals from both teams here. So I don't know what the line is. Yeah, both
Pretty
teams.
high. Over 2.5 is -167, but you could probably over 2.75 is probably around -125. I think that's pretty manageable there. I wouldn't mind looking at that. It's like I don't know what your feeling is about this because I know Dre will do like I won't just go like this and say -167 and say 100 because you're only going to win 60 back. Like to me, it's not really kind of worth it. If I'm trying to win 100, you got to put out 167. But if I'm, if I think that might work, I might put that in with. I don't even know. We try to find some game that's like -500 or something like that. Put a game, put it in with a game you think might win or something like that. Is that something is -167 a little high for you, or is that like around the max?
-150 is my max for sure. That's the most I'm willing to put like single bet because you'd only have to put 150 to make the 100. So it's not good, but it's not terrible as well. I think anything higher than that is too much of a risk. And even so, I really don't like to bet the -150s. Like I will try to do what you said. Like if I like an over and it's maybe north of -130, I might single bet it depending how much I like it, or I might parlay it with something else that I really like another over 2.5 in a game that's like juiced, like something in the German league where the 3.5 is normally the total, or just a big favorite at home that is going to win because they're playing a bad team or something like that.
It's weird. I get mad at myself. Like if I don't even like, sometimes this guy's pitching, -140 or something like that. So like, it's like 40 to win 26 or something like that. And like if it doesn't win, I'm like, man, it's stupid. I'm trying to win $26 on 40. Like I almost would rather lose a parlay with that line and something else to get it to like plus 130 and betting 40 to win maybe like 55 than lose the other thing, because it's just like what the hell. I mean, it's just almost like a waste of, to me. That's just my mentality. I know a lot of bettors don't think like that. There's these people that will bet $100,000 on a 1-5 horse or something like that, and you win whatever back. You win 10,000 or whatever. But to me, I mean, if that horse doesn't come in or whatever, I mean, it was just like a waste. So that's just that's why I usually do parlays more so than some of these other things, and even on money lines on the NFL. Like I'd rather take like Tampa Bay and I don't know, the Rams and a money line at minus 110 than just to take the Tampa Bay like -9 and have them win by 7 and you lose, even though you said you knew you were going to get the game right. So that's just me. I know there's a lot of people that aren't like that.
I actually love those because I normally will do probably 2 to 3 max, no more than 3, because then it becomes too much of a liability. But yeah, definitely for football season, I would rather take, as you said, like the Bucks, the Rams, and the Chiefs all to win on a parlay than trust like the Jets plus 12 or something like that, right?
That's these to me, like basketball is like that. To like college basketball, people will be like, I'm trying to find these
Duke minus 36.5.
No, the other team. They'll take like the other team plus 36.5. And you're like, so wait a second. You're telling me you're taking a team that's probably going to get beat by 36 points to maybe only lose by 35. There's more of a chance they lose by 50 than there is that they lose by 35. But like people do that all the time. And I'm like, I can't wrap my brain around it. Like I can't do it. Like I would rather, these games here, opening week. Like I love the Ravens this year. I think the Ravens are going to be really good. They were really good last year. They were leading the AFC until the whole team got hurt and injured at the same time. They all got COVID at the same time, and they all got hurt, and then they lost 8 in a row. They finished 8-9. The whole team, but past a certain point, like everybody was out. But they were 8-2. So, you get them against the Jets. I don't think the Jets are very good. So, they minus 240 there.
You're telling me you're not going to back the MILF Hunter in week 1? Come on, man.
Going to get there.
Zach Wilson. He's doing his mom's friend. How can you not back that?
So crazy, man. And here's the other thing. Like, when you look at this, like the 49ers are on the road at minus 286 at 6.5. The Tennessee Titans are at home at 6.5 at minus 305. It's just like, to me, it's just so weird. Like why the lines are like that. So I take the Ravens and Titans at minus 240 and minus 305 and get it down to minus 114. And those are 6.5 point favorites. Like, so, and then you throw in, the like, I'm not betting the Rams minus 13.5, but I'll move it around or something like that. And then the 49ers, maybe I'll put it in. I knew that's the second week, but now you're at plus 136. Well, if you're betting $50 and you hit a couple NFL parlays that weekend, all of a sudden now you're up 300, $200. I mean, it's a pretty good weekend. That's how I like to do it. I know there's people that will just go in these games and just say, I'm going to bet the Colts and I want to win $1,000 and I'm going to put up 38-46. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why you don't just say this and then, I don't know, the Ravens. And I want to win $1,000. You're only putting up 1267 to do it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
2 games that have to win, but
And I like it because at my book, just like I get the early payout with soccer, my book also does early payout after a 17-point lead in both college and NFL. Bet365.
Yeah,
So
you know what? I got to start using them more because they're in Jersey as well. Because football is for college, and I mean that I wrote a story about that. I think that stuff is pretty interesting because football, the teams don't come back from 17 points. And soccer teams do sometimes come back from 2, but they've already paid out. So, for me, someone who bets soccer all the time, that's a good book to use. So,
and they have it for every sport too.
yep, I know.
Yeah.
And there's only a couple sports books that have that. I know they're one of them, and I definitely need to start using them a little bit more.
Yeah, so soccer's 2 goals, football's 17 points, basketball, both college and thing is 20 points, and hockey's 3 goals.
Man, I mean that's pretty big. Abdi, yeah, Abdi, I know, man. I was on him too. It was just embarrassing. That's the
Oh,
cup games, though. These cup games, what were you gonna say?
baseball 5 runs too. Sorry, totally
Baseball.
forgot about baseball.
Yeah.
5-run lead there as well.
These cup games, I mean, you just I don't know. I don't know their motivation. You thought the Red Bulls would have been ready for that game, and they just got embarrassed.
Especially after pounding Austin on the road for literally 4-1 before you could even blink your eyes coming out of the half.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Any more of those MLS games you like?
Yeah, hold on. So we talked about the Minnesota. So I was liking, I guess,
There's a lot of these weird games, to be honest.
over there. See, I think there's going to be goals in Toronto FC just because their attack did look good with.
They're plus 360 this week.
But see, that's the thing. I don't know if their defense is still a problem, and I don't know if they're not going to help on defense at all. Like Lorenzo Insigne barely touched the ball. He was so far spread out on the wing. And even when they were coming up on the attack, like they didn't pass it to him as often. But when he did, you could tell like his touch is better, and he always puts the team in a dangerous position just with the kind of ball he lobs in near the box. So I think there's going to be goals in that one. I don't know if you want to take the over 3, maybe. I don't know what the line is on that.
Yeah, it's minus 117. So I think that's a pretty interesting line there.
Not awful. They're coming off a game where they scored 4 goals, and they're probably not going to keep a clean sheet again here.
Yeah, that's true. I know I like Austin. I said that already.
The New York City looked interesting.
Yeah, against Montreal.
Because they've really tightened their defense up.
They're not great on the road, but they don't give up a lot of goals on the road either.
The thing is, I don't know who they're leaving behind for this game. I don't know who can't travel to Canada, and that's the only thing that worries about me with these games in Canada is I don't necessarily know. Even it's hard to find who's unvaccinated and who's not, even if you try looking it up. Especially with MLS, it's not as popular as the MLB right now. You could find out the Royals have to leave their whole team behind coming to Toronto, but you can't really find out. I searched for 45 minutes to find who on Charlotte couldn't come up to play in Toronto, and I just couldn't find it. Obviously, they must have left some people on because they got pounded in that game. But it's tough to find in the MLS. Not a lot of people are reporting on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's kind of ridiculous at this point. I'm flying over. I don't have to do anything anymore. Last time I had to do 8,000 things, get into back into the country and stuff. There's nothing I have to do now. So I just next.
Yeah, I flew once during the pandemic, and it was within country, so I didn't have to worry about anything. But I still had to be double vaccinated just to get on the plane to fly to a different province.
Yeah, it's crazy at this point. I just hope I don't catch monkeypox when I'm over there. I know they say it's blowing up. So, yeah, exactly. All right, so basically that's it. Well, we're going to talk. Dre will be here tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the MLS games. He's going to have some over unders and stuff. There's a lot of weird games on the weekend in that league. So, but and then maybe some of the cup games. So, you're interested, make sure you're tuned in. Foxy's brother played. Mark Briggs is the manager of Sacramento Republic. Played with his brother, so that's interesting. Foxy's all over the place. All right. So tune in tomorrow and we'll have some more stuff for you. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and make sure you're getting that deal for the risk-free stuff. We're giving you free money. So all right. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.